Good morning everybody, or good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are. I'm Donna and I'm Blind and Knitting, and I welcome you all. It's been a month, so it is the 15th of October today, and this is episode 34. I'm looking down at my notes, sorry. So I hope all is well for you all. Episode 34 is... it's clocking up there, isn't it? So welcome to any new viewers and welcome back to any existing viewers. Please remember to like, because that helps with the algorithms, and subscribe and do all the things you're supposed to do to support us podcasters. Yeah, that would be really appreciated. It's a really windy day outside. It'd blow the milk out of your tea if you went out there. So no, we're not going out there today. It's really blustery. So poor old Stuart is out there shearing sheep. Well, I always say he's doing haircuts, pedicures and manicures for the rams for sale. So making the rams all look really pretty for sale, but he's shearing and yeah, tidying them up so that they look smart for sale. But that's a big job. He's going to come back knackered. He's helped shear all, well, he does the rousing and sort of the pressing of the wool, but we have a lovely guy, Alan, who comes in and does the shearing for us. So they're all busy out there. It's a busy time of year for farmers. You know, we've just still in lambing. The hoggets are still lambing, so we're still in lambing, and then docking and shearing. Really busy time. Yeah, it's a hard time for farmers, but it's when they sort of reap the rewards of 2 years ago and are planning the stock for 2 years ahead. So that's how farming works. It's a tough job, but it's you know, has its beatitudes, of course, as well. And we get to knit all the lovely fibre that they or the wool that they shear. So that's what Stuart's been doing. What I've been doing is, I've been doing over the last month? Gosh, I've been pretty busy at work, really. It's, you know, it's been a busy time, but just ticking along busy, not sort of, oh my God, busy, or Mrs. Spray and Wipe busy, as I say. And I'll just check my notes. So we've had Y-Knit, we've had our knitting group, and we've been talking about our upcoming second retreat in June. So if you live locally, or if you don't live locally and you want to travel, because the Wairarapa is a beautiful place to travel to, we're going to have a retreat in June, date to be confirmed, and it'll be in the lovely Wairarapa in our Y group, Y-Knit, Y for Wairarapa, Knit group is hosting that here, and we've got a Facebook page, so you can check that out and follow us and see all the dates and what's to come and what workshops we'll be presenting. Really quite excited. I have signed up with Sandy, another of my friends, and I'm not sure who else is coming, but definitely Sandy and we've both signed up for the Unwind, let me get the name right, Unwind Fibre Craft Retreat in March next year down in Dunedin. Super excited for that. Gosh, they've got some good workshops. The registration opens on, and I want to tell you, the 2nd of November, because I don't want to miss out on my workshops, but it's actually the 1st of November. So the 1st of November, the workshops registration opens up. By golly, they've got some good ones. So they have one of the ones that I'm really keen on is a chap called James. I want to get the name right as well. Herbison. James, I believe, is a local to the Wairarapa. I think he's in Carterton, and he is doing some really interesting workshops, particularly around fibre, and I believe he's just come back from a tour around the Shetlands, so I'm really keen to get into one of those workshops, and you'll see why in the future. Further on in this podcast, I'll talk about my plans for next year. So there's a lot of good stuff on. Really excited about that, and it'll be nice to spend some time down there with Sandy and some knitting friends. That's really exciting. So that I think is probably, oh no, Vicky, another one of my friends, Vicky Fletcher, and I, she's from Y Knit as well. Sandy's from Y Knit as well. So Vicky and I are going on a cruise. So I decided to do one. I love cruising, I love travelling, but because I'm blind, I don't know if I said that at the beginning for all you new viewers, so I am legally blind. I only have about that much sight, about just the size. It's kind of like looking through a telescope. So what I can see is just that circle of sight. I knit. Thankfully, I've got just enough to be able to knit, but I do a lot of it by feel and sense and memory, etc., which I talk through and give tips on through my podcasts. I have retinitis pigmentosa. So my partner's not a traveller. He just isn't really interested, but I really love travelling, and so I try and do things that are safe for me for sight. So I booked, or was going to go on a cruise around New Zealand. It's just a close one to home because I can take Kenzie on that one, and there's parts of New Zealand I haven't seen. The Fiordlands I'm really looking forward to. So and Vicky said, oh, I'll come. I said, great, the more the merrier. So Vicky and I are going to share a room. We've got a balcony room. Exciting. Never done that. I'm usually in the middle of the boat, but I don't mind doing that either, to be honest. And we're going to knit and do all the cruisy things that you do. So looking forward to that. That's in November, so you'll no doubt hear about that in future podcasts. So that's exciting too. So I've got some exciting stuff coming up. Let's have a sip of coffee. I have been doing, as you know, a health kick thing. I decided to do a 3-month health challenge, I suppose, just to get myself cleaned up for Christmas. And so I have been, I did no alcohol, went back to the gym, drinking, just increasing my water content again. I started recording my stats and monitoring my stats, like blood pressure, weight, blah, 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 blah. And I was doing really well. I'd lost 3K last couple of weeks ago, but I've put 2K back on. But I know muscle weighs more than fat, so I may be gaining some muscle and losing some fat, because I do know I've changed shape, which is nice, and I can see some differences around. I did have a couple of wines last night for the first time in 6 weeks. After I'd had them, I thought, I don't know why I bothered. I'd have cheated, but we did have, so we've got some exciting news next week, and we had some not so great medical news as well. So we had something to celebrate and something to sort of discuss and work a plan out for. So I just decided to have a couple of wines while we did that. So I'll be back on the no wine kick today. Disappointed I've gained weight. Having said that, I did have my grandson for 3 days, and we did eat a lot of things like ice cream and macaroni cheese and all of those things you're not supposed to do. So, I know it's diet. And as I was cooking breakfast this morning, my favourite weekend breakfast, I don't do it during the week, but on the weekend I love 2 hash browns and 2 fried eggs, runny eggs. That's my sort of treat breakfast on the weekend. And as I was thinking about my food and thinking, oh yes, what I can do is half this and half that, and I can half my breakfast, as I was putting 2 hash browns in the fry pan, I thought, I could have put 1 in, so I'll have to start later today. There's always time to start. So that's my goal, is to, now I think I need to just be a little bit more mindful of my food and what I'm eating. I'm pretty good. I eat quite well, but I did have, as I say, some macaroni cheese and some ice cream, and typical Kiwis, we do eat more than we should. Good old-fashioned, got to fill your plate, got to finish your plate sort of ethos. And so that's my goal for my health kick there. Someone's just come to the door, so you'll hear Kenzie nutting off. I'm pretty sure it's someone just dropping some fresh eggs off, farm eggs for me to sell. So yeah, there we go. Coffee, I am enjoying decaf coffee. I've got into decaf, so yeah, it's good. Good. I love the taste of coffee, but sometimes we just have too many stimulants. And oh God, I sound like such a purist. I really am not that pure, but you know, I'm trying, as we all do. Anyway, knitting. Where am I at? So I have no finished objects for you. I've been pottering along with my knitting and really enjoying my knitting. My sister, my niece and I travelled up to Tauranga, which is a good 6.5 hour trip from where I live, to see my brother who'd had some major surgery, and we had a lovely weekend, but because I don't drive, I had 6 hours up and 6 hours back, and we did a bit of tiki-touring around of knitting. It was great. So I will show you what I'm on. I'll show you my knitting. So my first project, my main project, is in this lovely homemade bag that my sister-in-law bought for me. And I don't know who made it, but it's wonderful. This is the Anchors My Boyfriend jersey that I'm knitting for Stuart. And I've got quite a way through, actually. I've finished a sleeve. So if you can see that. Finished a sleeve there, got the neck all done, collar all done, and I'm onto the second sleeve, and I haven't done the length yet, so because it's not knitting for me, it's knitting for someone else, I'm a bit conscious of making sure that the length is right. So I have just finished there, and I will add the length later, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a workhorse wool that I have knit a lot, called that's from Skeins, which is in Napier in New Zealand. It is called Vintage Abroad, and the colour is Stone, which is a really lovely sort of grey fawn, yeah, nice neutral colour, which Stuart picked. It's a crisp. It's a merino, 100% merino, crisp wool, but not scratchy. So just a good workhorse wool. And but I was showing Stuart the other day, and I said, "Oh, look, look how far I've got." And he said, "Oh, what about that big hole there?" And I went, "There's no hole there. How dare you?" Thinking, and I'll show you. Bugger my days. There's a bloody great hole in it. Excuse the swearing, but it's my podcast. I'll swear if I want to. Bloody great hole in it. So I don't know. So I've caught the stitches and I'll repair it. It actually looks like that's a really clean break. But I've been spit splicing because it's a coarser wool, so spit splicing works well. So it definitely hasn't been spit spliced because it's clean. It would be all frayed if it was a spit splice coming undone. It's a clean cut. I can't answer it, whether it's a fault that was in the wool and that it was just hanging by a thread, and it wasn't till it was knitted that it popped open. I don't know, but I'll have to repair that. So initially, and I have told you before, but I started doing this when I was staying at my sister-in-law's, and I didn't have my circular needles, so I started it on straight needles, and that's why there's a split in the back, which I will sew up. Normally it's in the round, but it's a great pattern. I've knit an anchor for myself. That's why I decided to do one for him, because I really liked it on. Yeah, really happy with it. Getting along quite well. This is the one that I worked on mostly when we were travelling, because where's my skein of wool? I've made a mess. Because it was all just stocking stitch and in the round, and I didn't have to think, and because I was in the back I could spread myself out and not worry too much about it being a big thing to knit. Really enjoying that. This is what the pattern looks like. Which way is that? That way. Anchor by Petite Knits. Yeah, good pattern. Recommend. Well, highly recommend actually. It's my second one, so I have to. So I'll just put that down over there. That's going to get a knitting on at knit group today, because I'm on sleeves and it's just a matter of decreasing every 8 rows that I can do. So my next WIP is in this lovely bag that I received for my yarn swap, and it is from Dreamfire, which is in Christchurch. They have a lovely website, and I got a lovely yarn swap from a lady who's a friend of the woman that has Dreamfire, and this came in the yarn swap as well. It's actually become one of my favourite bags now. I really like it, it's pretty. This is my Pure Joy by Hohi Locatelli, and I'm ticking along. I'm not in any rush with this. It's just one of those fun things. I always like to have a shawl on there because I wear, and particularly this time of the year, I've been wearing a lot of shawls. It's a good time to carry a shawl because you can just throw it over your shoulders. It just keeps your neck and your shoulders warm on those slightly chilly days or slightly chilly nights, and you can just throw it in your bag when it's not. So I am knitting this. This is actually quite pretty. I was a bit worried about how bright it was going to be because it's very bright, but can you imagine that with a pretty plain pink t-shirt, which I wear a lot of, and I wear a lot of lemon, so I can imagine that with like a lemon, crisp lemon sun frock or something, or burgundy. So the wool is from Marina, and it is her Strawberry Patches wool, and forgive me, Marina, I have forgotten the name of the wool, of the colour, but it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I'll see if I can get that up closer so you can see. And I am using Cascade 2020 as the contrast burgundy that I got at Skeins and you start from this corner, and you never cut off your contrast colour. It stays on the whole time, and you kind of knit wedges with short rows. Really enjoying it. It's quite fun. And as I say, I'm not in any urgent hurry. It'll be something that I can potter along with over the next couple of months and get done. I'm wondering if I've got my tags. That's the wool wound up. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's the other wool, the Cascade 2020, which I'm learning to like. I started getting it, that's a sport weight, the Cascade 2020. I'm just seeing if I've got Marina's, oh, I have, look at that label, and I'm hoping I can read it. And it's called Sunset, which is perfect. That's Marina's logo, Strawberry Patches. Marina, if you're watching, I have corrected the spelling of your name on the notes below. So everything I talk about is linked below. And I had Marina's name spelt wrong, so I fixed it. But love her wool. I've knit quite a bit of her wool and I'm really enjoying it. That is the pattern there. Make sure I get it up the right way. Hohi Locatelli, Pure Joy. And I got the idea to knit that from Needles at the Ready, because one of the boys, Ray, I think it was, or maybe Kevin and Ray have both knit them actually. And I absolutely loved theirs and thought, yep. And it's in garter stitch, so you do have to sort of keep a count of short rows, so it's not one that you can just knit without thinking at all. Not just plain knitting. You've got short rows, so you do have to keep those in mind, and when you bring in your contrast colour. So it is a bit of a thinking thing, which I quite like. I like having a little thinking plan ahead. Yeah, what I'm wearing. I am wearing, this was my very first in the round circular top down yoke jersey cardigan, short sleeve top. This is, and I'm pretty sure I've got the details. Get my books again. So this is 100% acrylic. I was purely learning the new style that I had discovered, which was circular needles and top down, etc. And so I wanted to practice on something inexpensive to see whether the style was mine, and this was cheap as chips. It was from Uncle Bill's, which is a cheap warehouse in New Zealand. 100% acrylic, which I don't normally knit with, but I just fell in love with the colour, to be honest. I was walking past, saw the colour and went, oh, that's me, and bought it. So this pattern is called the Leaf Top, L-E-A-F, and it is by Burnett Design Studio. I knit this back in very early 2021, so I think it was almost like straight after Christmas. I think it was pretty much 1st of January. So 100% acrylic from Uncle Bill's. The colour is denim. It's called denim colour, and I knit the size XL. It is a bit big, so it's a bulky knit too. It is a bit big, and as I say, I was learning, and I did cocked up the lace, but you'd never know because you don't know what it was supposed to be. So I cocked up the lace, and it is a bit big, but that's part of the learning thing. I was really making sure that I learned, and I'm pleased I didn't spend hundreds of dollars on a beautiful wool on a learning garment. And I haven't worn it much because I wasn't sure if I liked it. It was bulky and it was acrylic, which I'm not a fan of, anyway, I haven't worn it much at all. And the other day I pulled out one of my pink, I've actually been getting very cold lately. You know, the menopause is over, and now I'm becoming an old lady going, I'm cold. So I pulled out one of my lovely tops, and I thought, what can I wear over this? And this literally did fall out of the wardrobe. And I thought, well, I'll slip it on. I'll see if I can put a photo of me in it up there so you can see, because I've got layered it with this. And yeah, so I've actually quite liked wearing it for a change. So that was my very, very, very first attempt at and trial at that. So I'll put that away. I don't need that now. That is what I'm wearing. So my next WIP is, I'll say spoiler alert, because it is Stephen West's MCAL, and I'm going to show you it, but I'm not going to show, I'll show it in sort of folded up, so you just get the colours. So I'm not on clue 2. Clue 1 is finished and we're on to clue 2, so I don't know how much I'm allowed to show, even if we're still on till the end of October. So I'll say spoiler alert, but I won't show much. So I decided for the first time ever to do Stephen West's MCAL. I'm just going to have a sip of coffee, excuse me. And I'd never done one before, and I was quite nervous because I have to be honest and say I really didn't like the final look of last year's MCAL. I've loved all of the ones before, or the one before that I have to say was pretty scary because it looked quite intense and lots in it. So I was quite nervous, but I have decided to sort of go on this learning journey of knitting, so to push myself a bit. So and I'll talk further about that later on, but part of that is learning some new techniques, and I know Stephen West does that. So I thought, even if I don't like the shawl, I love wearing shawls. So I decided to, actually it was I kind of was weighing up whether to do it or not, and then it's a lovely friend of mine, a knitting friend of mine, Rosemary, was at our knitting group, and she dyes wool. She has a wool dyeing business called Rose Spud Yarns, and she had some packs made up, and she pulled them out, and I just fell in love immediately with the first one she pulled out, and I thought, right, there's my answer. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with that wool, and so that's my decision. So the wools, and this is really, so Rosemary dyes with natural dyes. So this is, oh gosh, they're in a bit of a mess. That's me. This is my colorway. So it's 4 ply, 100%, no, 80% merino, 85% merino, I think. I'll have a look at so look at those colours. Oh, they are me to a T, if you can see them closer. I'll give you the names in a moment. That one, there's a speckly one that's got quite a bit of speckle in it. You can see up closely. Just fell in love with the colours. They are just me to a T. So I have, and it's just here, here's the labels. I'll tell you the colours. So I'll show you Rosemary's card for her business, so I highly recommend you have a look. Rose Spud Yarns, that's her card. Hopefully that's showing, because I can't see whether it is or not. I hope it is. I'll link her below. She's got a Facebook page. So the first colour, so the colours for the shawl, you do an A, B, C and D, and A is starting with the lightest and going to the darkest. So the colours are, this is the first one of Rosemary's. It is colour A, and it is speckled petal, and it sure is a speckled petal because, as I said, it has speckles all through it. Just beautiful. These, and now this is really interesting, and this is part of my learning journey again. These are dyed with madder, M-A-D-D-E-R. Now I had to Google madder because I know nothing about it, which has been quite nice, another learning thing. And so madder is a root, it's a plant, and you dye using the root, and it has been used for centuries, particularly in Turkey for their beautiful rugs, mats, India and Iran. And so the madder, I'm trying to pick the next colour while I'm talking, not very good at multitasking. So the madder has created all of these colours, which is just really cool. This one is called Blush. Beautiful. The next one is called, that's the last one. The names actually suit the colours beautifully. You've picked beautiful names. Coral. Oh, that one's connected to the knitting, so be careful of that. Coral. Oh, sorry. I love that colour. Well, I love them all. There's not one of these that I don't love. And the last one, and the name suits because I was saying about Turkey and Persian rugs, it is called Persian Carpet. Isn't that appropriate? So that's Persian Carpet. And these are all dyed with madder. So it's the start of a new part of my learning process. Now here's the spoiler alert, because there is a bit of hoo-ha with the knitting around some cultural sensitivities, and so I didn't find out until I was quite a way through my clue 1. So I'm going to continue, but I'm going to change it so that that removes what the issue is. It's going to take the symmetry away from it a wee bit, but I'd rather do that than offend. But I didn't really want to start again because I am a slow knitter and this is my first one. And I also didn't want to offend. So I'm trying to finding a happy medium rather than start again. There is an option to start again because of this cultural sensitivity, but I'll just show you. I won't show you the whole thing. I'll just show you a wee bit of where we're up to. So spoiler alert if you haven't started yet. So my learnings. Well, I've never done anything with these points and stripes. Just been really interesting learning, quite new technique, and that is one of the reasons why I don't want to start again, because the new pattern is very simple and quite without, I don't think there would be a great deal of learning for me. So I'm going to carry on with the learning on this one. And the Weaving Stephen, my gosh, why did I not find out about that before? What a really simple and a great thing, Weave in Stephen. So it's how he weaves in the joint pieces of yarn, the thread, the yarn, as you go, so that you don't have to weave in any of your yarn at the end. It's, yeah, just amazing. So I've already learned 2 really good new learnings for me. I also have never really knitted with stripes. I've never really been well, it's not that I'm not a fan of stripes, I've just never done it. So so really you could almost say that's 3, but knitting with stripes isn't a great learning, but it's something that's new to me. So 3 things that I'm so far finding. I haven't got to clue 2 yet. I'm a little bit behind, but it's typical of me. I didn't expect to be able to keep up, but I'm close. So yeah, hopefully I haven't done anything wrong by showing much of that. But new learnings, I think I'm going to love it, because even if the style is a bit unique, which it probably will be with Stephen, I absolutely adore the colours, so that will help. And Rosemary had a shawl that she'd done the MCAL last year, which was the shawl that I didn't particularly like, but she'd done it in the most amazing colours, and it really did highlight why Stephen had created what he'd created, and it looked stunning. But some people's shawls, yeah, were just not my thing, but hopefully they were theirs. So those are my 3 WIPs. That's what I still have my socks on the go. To be honest, I've fallen out of love with them, and I'm pretty sure it's the yarn. I really do think that I have fallen out of love. I've got all these business cards here. Fallen out of love with the yarn, but I do love wearing, oh, we've got knitted socks on today. Excuse the grubby socks, but these are crochet yarn. They are wool nylon. They are just a shop buy. Crochet's just a general shop purchase, not a indie dyer, and they knit up so that they look like they've been ferruled, and yeah, because I just love wearing wool socks. I think I did suffer as a teenager with what do you call them? Chilblains really bad, and my doctor said try pure, because I was not wearing pure wool. You know, in the 70s and 80s we just loved acrylic. That was why we, you know, sadly that's why we're suffering a lot now in the planet. And so I tried wool and it got rid of the chilblains. So I, you know, have always adhered to wool socks ever since, but they're just beautiful to wear. So that's what I'm wearing. That's my WIPs. Mental health, I was going to talk about journaling. So I have brought my journal. Here it is. I have journaled all my life, even as a young one, and so I know the benefits just personally, but I have done a lot of research on it, a lot of study on it. So when you journal, what doctors have found physiologically is that while you are in the act of journaling, you increase things called T lymphocytes. Now lymphocytes, or specifically T lymphocytes, support the immune system, particularly around stress-related disorders like respiratory disorders, bronchitis, asthma, and skin disorders like psoriasis and eczema. So not only does journaling simply make you feel good and get your head straight, it physically and biologically helps you boost your immune system. So there is a key to journaling, and I'm not going to go into it all today, because that's a whole workshop on its own, and I would be giving away all my workshops, wouldn't I? But I just wanted to express how beneficial journaling is. I this journal's a year old or two. This journal's 2 years old. So as you can see, sometimes I draw pictures, sometimes I scribble things, sometimes I do charts, all sorts. I have talked in the past about the 8 areas of human existence. They are the areas that make the whole pie up of being human, and those are the areas that we need to keep a handle on just to ensure that we've got balance in our life. Now, I always write the 8 areas of human existence at the beginning of my journal, so that when I'm journaling, I actively ensure that I look at all of those areas. In the back, I've got lovely cards that I've been given, little notes I've been given. I've also got, I haven't read it yet. So 3 years ago I did Outward Bound. It's a adventure camp for people for all ages. So I went as a disabled older person, but they have a lot of youth, mostly youth, and the youth spend 21 days, but I did 8 days at camp, and we did all sorts of activities and things. And when we did our alone, which was 2 nights out in the bush on our own, we built our own bivouacs, our own bivvies, and slept under the stars. Thankfully it was summer when we went, it wasn't winter, but they do it in winter as well. One of the challenges we had to do was to write ourselves a letter, and they were going to post it back to us in 6 months' time. So I've had this letter, I've never opened it. I wrote this letter to myself 3 years ago, and I didn't feel ready to open it when I got it posted to me 6 months later. I just felt that the changes from the psychological changes from going to that Outward Bound are still working on me, are still being created and, you know, cooked up and stewed and changing things, and I'm not ready to open it, so I haven't. It's going to be interesting. It's funny, when I look at it I'm quite nervous. Isn't that weird? So maybe that's something everyone could do, and I do teach that or suggest that in my workshops on journaling, is to write yourself a letter for the future and a letter for the past. So yeah, there we go. So journaling has been, you know, around for centuries, and particularly in Asia it's been discovered, and in the Middle East. Journaling was really strong then, and you know, if anyone, particularly the Asians, if anyone's going to know natural things that work for healing and health, it's the Asian culture. And so but there's a lot of people that have journaled. Ronald Reagan was an avid journaler, Winston Churchill was, the obvious one would be the Diary of Anne Frank. It saved her life really while she was hiding from during the war. And another modern day one that's an avid journaler and takes workshops on it is I've forgotten his name as an actor, and he goes, all right, Matthew McConaughey. There we go. Yeah, so he's now taking workshops on it as well. I take workshops on journaling, but I just wanted to say, physiologically they have discovered that it changes things for the better, and I know personally it's changed things in my head for the better, and there is research and proof out there as well. So if you want, grab a journal and just start. That's my mental health part. It's kind of, I'll have another sip of coffee. You do get a dry mouth when you talk a lot. It's good. Gosh, it's getting windy out there. Hope people don't get, I'll have to go and collect some furniture. My chooks will be sitting in the corner going, oh. They hate wind. It stops them laying. But that's okay. They can tuck up in a nice safe little corner. I've actually got a sick chook at the moment. I'm not sure what's wrong with her. Her legs are all swollen and she can't sort of pick herself up. She's still eating and she still looks bright and she's still drinking, so I'm just kind of nurturing and watching her at the moment, ensuring that she's eating and drinking, and I'll keep an eye on her legs and see. She's quite a senior chook, so it may be a simple thing as aging, but yeah, I don't want her to suffer. She doesn't look like she's suffering, she just looks like she's uncomfortable, and I'm hoping that it's something that might improve. So yeah, chooks, eh? I love my chooks. Anywho, and they provide eggs, which I had for brekkie. What am I up to? So let me have a look at my book. Right, yeah, what I was going to talk about next is that it's a real transition time, I guess, partly for everyone overseas, but also for us. So you'll be going into you're in autumn, we're in spring, we're coming into our summer, and you're coming into your winter. And I think that's quite a transitional time for knitting as well, for obvious reasons. Over in America you say, oh, it's sweater weather, you know, and over here we're going, oh, I don't know how much I want to knit big sweaters in the heat, because it does get quite hot over here in New Zealand. But it is a transition time, and one of the other things that's really important for mental health is altruism. So I was going to set out a challenge, really, sort of in the transition time when you don't want to start your winter knitting, but you have, and you want to knit, just sort of cleanse the palette, which a lot of people call it, is maybe knitting some hats or gloves for homeless, and handing them to a homeless person, or you know, someone who really is in need of some love. But it's also really good for your soul. Altruism is not only is it good for giving, but it's just such a good thing for your soul. Yeah, it's kind of a psychological stroking that's good for you, but it's a benefit for others. The other people that, you know, maybe new preemie babies, you know, take some up to the hospital or plunket, and knit something for preemies. There's a lot of people in need. Little cardigans that can be given to a kindergarten or a preschool, and say, you know, you decide if there's any kiddies that are cold that need a nice knitted jersey, if you want to knit something little jersey. Anyways, my challenge to you is, you know, if you're in the middle of both and you want a palette cleanser, maybe just try some altruism and give handouts. So homeless, if you don't feel you can approach a homeless or a street living person, you could drop it into your local council, and they will know where to put it. So sorry, local councils, if that's not what you want, but hey ho, they need warmth. So that's just a wee challenge between. So what that also brings me to is my change of seasons thinking, and it's like you're getting near the end of the year, you know, we are starting to come into summer, although you wouldn't think of it today. I think spring is trying to blow summer in somehow today. And so I want to plan. I've decided I want two things for my knitting. Seems I've been going through this journey of new learning and all of this knitting challenge and change for me. I now feel that I'm ready for a little bit stronger challenges, and I really want some more knowledge about my knitting and my yarns and my designers that I knit. I've been quite careful, I suppose, well, not careful, but stuck with the same in lots of ways. So I'm very much a merino, 100% merino, or 100 merino nylon, or some silk mixed blends. And I have started playing with some blends, like some cashmere. I've knit a bit of cashmere, I've knit some alpaca, and I've knit some yak. So I am starting to explore a little bit more. So that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to this Dunedin retreat, because that's going to give me some more exploration time. And I really want to look at things like poleworth and different breeds of sheep. I think there's one called Mosan, you know, Romney. I don't know if that's one that you knit much, but lots of different brands of sheep. I wrote some down, I think, didn't I? Yeah, Corriedale, that was another one that I'm, you know, Polworth and Corriedale are two that I've never really spent any time knitting, and I hear the praise, you know, from knitters of the wool. So that's one thing I really want to do, is explore different wool types. And as I've said, I'm keen to do a bit of spinning when I retire. Not yet, I've got a few years yet, but that's my long-term goal. So the Shetland trip, you know, I'd really dearly love to go to Scotland and do this Shetland trip, and you know, maybe in 2 or 3 years time that is a possibility, because I've got a couple of trips I want to plan before that. My designers, so I have stuck to, you know, I used to be the good old-fashioned patterns girl, and you know, well, we all did because it's all we had, but we've really got such a diverse library of designers now that are coming out, and I'm really excited by them. And I mean, Creia Bayo, Rebecca Clow, she just excites me. She's just really exciting me with her style and design. There was one the other day that I came across, and her name was Wilfrida Rolled, and her stuff was it was beautiful. It was classic and elegant and beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to maybe try something from Wilfrida Rolled. Creia Bayo, who's a very classic, clean cut, crisp and quite youthful. So I'm really looking forward to hers. I've got one planned. I'll show you what my plans are shortly, but I'm just talking about those. Yeah, so I am super keen on, that's my goal and my mission. So next year I've started a new knitting journal. My old knitting journal, which is here, is really getting quite full. It's got just enough to last me till the end of the year excuse me, of pages. So as you can see, it's got quite fat and full, which is cool, but that'll do me till the end of the year. So I've started a new one, and what I've done is added, so the other thing I want to do is over summer, particularly when we don't want to be making great big things, I've given myself a challenge of really getting into Stephen West's sock knits. I paid for that at the beginning of this year and have started the cuff of one and not touched it, but I really would like to. I can now see the amazing learning that I can get from Stephen West's designs. So I thought, right, over Christmas holidays, one of my missions, I've got all the wool, I've got all the patterns, is to get into some of Stephen West's different and unique sock patterns. So I have a page set in my new journal, my 2024 journal. In the back of one section I have written somewhere, socks. Helps if you hold it the right way up. Socks. So I've written, I'm ready to go. I've started. Socks. I have also further on written fibre, so I'm going to write down all the fibres and when I hear of them, and things like learning about madder and different dyeing techniques, and so anything to do with fibre and the learning from that. And then I've got right at the back designers, and some designers that I'm really keen to knit something of. Ozetta is another one that often comes up, and I'm really keen to knit something of Ozetta's. I think her style is quite simple and versatile, but she has just little tweaks of interest. So I'm quite keen to do some of Ozetta's as well. So that's my mission for next year in my new journal that I've started for 2024. I will start the designer and the yarn exploration, etc., a little earlier, but I won't start my knitting, my WIPs and FOs till next year with that. That's all ready to go. So I just thought I would give you a little rundown on my goal for the next few months, to what I want to knit over the next, so we are in October, halfway through October, and so I've got Stephen's MCal, which I'll finish. I've got Stuart's jersey, which I will finish probably in the next couple of weeks. I've only got one sleeve and the bottom to do, and my Pure Joy, which I'm taking along with and enjoying. So at the end of October I'm going to be looking for some garments to knit. So I have them sitting here waiting with, I'll just bear with, I'll pause you. No, I'm a bit scared to pause you because I'll lose you because I know what I'm like. You just talk amongst yourself and I'll collect my yarn. Right, I've got it, and my patterns. These are my plans for the next few weeks. My first plan is the Miss Arena. Now I have eyed this up for such a long time, and I think it'll be a nice summer one, but it also I can wear it, you know, mid-seasons as well. So I'm going, and Miss Arena is knit by, it's a Caitlin Hunter, which I've knit a Caitlin Hunter before. My Birkin was one of hers, so I'm quite keen to start that. So the Miss Arena I am going to attempt to do in, and I've forgotten already. Isn't that funny? I've forgotten. All right, maybe I haven't got the yarn for that one. So the next one, but that's definitely on my to-do list. The next one that I am definitely going to do is a Crayabaya, as I have said. Her cardigan, which is called the Corin cardigan, which is a lace cardigan, and this is the type I have said I need more cardies, so I'm really keen to start this one. And I am going to knit this in this here, which is called Roving. It's from Skeins. It's an 8-ply pure wool. It's a really pretty toffee caramel blush colour, so I'm quite keen to do that one. So that I have got the yarn for. So I have got the yarn and the pattern to do Crayabayas. That's going to be a cast on very soon. The next one that I fell in love with, oh my gosh, is this one. Oh, my ink is running out of my printer. So it's right on the front of Ravelry. You will have all seen it. It's just got the most beautiful, almost like a boucle lace pattern, and it is called the Field Sweater by Camilla I can't even read it. Camilla Val. I'll have it linked below anyway. Let's see if there's another picture that's better, because my printer is obviously running out of ink. There's another picture there, but it's not very clear either. But when you open Ravelry, she's right on the front page, and I just looked at it and thought, oh, I have to. So I am going to knit that with this beautiful caramel colour, sort of fawn caramel, scrummy yummy. So that's my goal for that, and that is a Cascades yarn 2020. Now a friend of mine is opening her own online and hopefully in the near future in her home wool shop, but mostly quilting. She's a quilter, but she's also going to stock yarn and needles. Her website is called Quilt Savvy, so Quilt Savvy, S-A-V-V-Y, and Carol, so she's going to stock Cascade, but she's also going to try and attempt to stock some unique yarns and some different yarns. She's looking at possum and all sorts of different ones, exciting ones. So yeah, visit her website. She's the most amazing quilter, knitting and fabric quilter, and so she's going to have kits and packs and all sorts, and eventually some workshops and things. So she's just starting out. She's off to America, to Houston, I think, to a quilting 2-day quilting thing. It's like Rhinebeck, but it's Rhinebeck for quilters, over in Houston in America. So she'll come back with all sorts of nice exciting stuff. So that's going to be my field sweater. by Camilla. And the next ones I have are, this is yarn from, I'm trying to find the rest of it. Oh, I lie. This is going to be my field setter. This sounds better. No wonder I'm confusing myself. Look at that. Oh, now that is me to a T. Now this is from Mama Wooling, and it is a wool nylon 4-ply knit, and it's just scrummy. So it is pinks and creams, and that is what this one will be. That sounds better, doesn't it? Right, so that's that one. That one that I thought I was going to knit it in the brown, I haven't got a plan for, because it's I thought it was 8-ply when I brought it. Duh. It's not, it's bulky, and I'm not really a bulky fan, but I thought maybe just a quick cardigan. You can never go wrong with a cardigan. I knit an 8-ply cardigan just recently, a stocking knit one, just a plain that I made it up, actually made the pattern up, short sleeve, or yeah, to my elbow sleeve, and it's been the most versatile thing I've ever used. So this will probably just be whipped up into a cardigan that I don't have a pattern for yet. The next one I have is, I hope you're enjoying this, I did get a freebie from Skeins, and I wondered whether I join those two together, so that, you know, maybe do a bit of colour work or some stripes, or Latvian braids, which I have here to show you. I told you I did a workshop on Latvian braids when I was away at the retreat, and that is a Latvian braid there. Isn't that pretty? So I hope you can see that. So it's like looks like a cable that way, but it looks like a plait that way. And yeah, so I've learned how to do it, and now I'm really keen. It's the top one there. The bottom one is my failure. The test run. So that's definitely the top one. Look at that top one. So yeah, maybe a cardigan with some Latvian braids in that other colour. But I haven't got a pattern for that. So this here is the scrummiest wool. Now I brought this at the knitting sale in Wellington a little while ago, and it doesn't have whose yarn it is, and I can't remember, so I am really sorry whomever I bought this from. If you recognise the label or the piece of wrapping, please give me a shout, and I'll give you a shout out, because it's just stunning. It is merino silk, and it's a 4-ply, and yeah, oh yummy. And I haven't really got a plan yet for this, although I'm thinking cardigan, because again I need more cardigans in my world, although this would make a beautiful sort of top. Don't know, if you've got suggestions, I'd love to hear them. So it's a 4-ply merino silk. It's just yummy, and it's a really beautiful colour. So the last ones I have, and I've talked about these before, is this eucalyptus wool, which I'm nervous but keen to knit, and I'm going to do a sort of a stripe with these. It's made out of eucalyptus. It's a 4-ply, and it's the band, and I bought that from where did I buy that one from? I will link it below, because I've lost it. And so those are my plans to keep me amused. I'll just get rid of those all over the go. I'm going to have a big mess to clean up. To keep me amused over the next few months. So a couple of cardigans, a couple of must be getting near the end of the podcast, because I start losing it near the end. That is telling me I've spoken too much. A couple of colour works, and one and yeah, so next year I'm really looking forward to the learning that I'm going to do for, yeah, really looking forward to getting some head stuff, some learning. I might even sort of delve even further into it and do some study of some sort. There might be some sort of interesting study going around on fibres and stuff. I don't know. I've always loved learning, so it needs to be something that is accessible to blind. So if you do know of anything, yeah, I'd be keen to hear. But that's my podcast. Have a great week, or have a great month actually, because although I always say 2 weeks, I try aim for 2 weeks, but it's often a month. I make no apologies, it's just the way it is. So yeah, have a great future until I see you again. Please reach out if you're interested in any more of what I've said, or a little bit more detail, or anything like that. I'm happy to chat. So bye for now.